Good evening, everyone. Someone did it. Someone actually recovered the wallet. So they found all 12 seed words, they found the passphrase, and they managed to recover the wallet and get the 42,000 sat bounty that was, of course, doubled by Bitcoin Magazine and Asanoa. Congratulations to Zoran X, that's his handle on Twitter, and he did publicize the fact that he won the sats, so I feel comfortable in sharing that. Congratulations, because this challenge was not easy. If you're new to Bitcoin, it was probably a little bit more challenging than what you're accustomed to. And of course, by adding a passphrase, even if you get the 12 words plus a passphrase, depending on the wallet that you're using to recover the sats, you could run into issues with the derivation path and a bunch of other things. So congratulations to you. And of course, a bit later on in this update, I will share the seed phrase and of course the passphrase, and I'll show you how I recover the wallet. But the update is a bit late today because I flew in yesterday from the Bitcoin Film Festival in Warsaw, Poland. Of course, my flights were delayed. I had to take 2 flights to get back. And so, of course, everything else was delayed in the evening, and then it ran off into this morning. And so I'm a bit late with this episode, but I am delivering as promised. The Bitcoin Film Festival was a wonderful experience. And I honestly say, if you have the opportunity to go to Warsaw, Poland next year for the festival, I highly recommend it. I'm not a super artsy person, but I do appreciate cinema. And there were a few films that I really enjoyed watching. Bitcoin Castle stands out. You know, it's like dark humor, German humor about a couple and Bitcoin and trying to get, the Bitcoin. And of course, I got to see the Hummingbird movie about about Bitcoin adoption in Costa Rica, which was really, really nice. With that, I got to meet Paul Keaton, who is very nice, very kind. And I was lucky enough to get an interview with him after the screening of the film. So look out for that because that will come out, I guess, in the next few weeks. Of course, I got to see Plebs in real life. I got to see Tomic again for the second time. I met him in person in Lugano, I think it was last October, and so I got to see him again. He was super busy, of course, but I did get a chance to chat with him. So it was a great festival. Warsaw, it was my first time there, so I didn't really know what to expect. I've been to Russia in the past, and so I guess I kind of envisioned maybe like a less modern city, but it's super duper modern. There are like high-rise buildings everywhere, but there are still touches of, I guess, pre-industrial, like super industrialized Warsaw with, the old buses. I'm going to insert some pictures. The small little like sightseeing cars and stuff. So there's a nice contrast and juxtaposition between, sorry, something just popped up on my screen, between old and new. And so I definitely look forward to returning and of course visiting the city a little bit more. But it was a great festival. It was great to see people in real life. And I have to say that art does make a positive difference. The social layer, the cultural layer of Bitcoin is quite important because it does help to drive awareness. And once the awareness is there, people will investigate a little further and learn a bit more about Bitcoin. And it's funny because while, we're watching these movies and we're getting together with other plebs, of course, the price of Bitcoin is, I guess, plummeting. I checked my phone a few times and it seems like a lot of crazy things are going on in the market right now. I would say that there's probably a lot of uncertainty. There are theories bubbling around about how perhaps people are, selling their Bitcoin in order to rotate into all of these AI and the SpaceX IPO that's coming up. Could be the case. There's so many like variables just floating around like right now. So I don't really want to speculate, but because I did hear, that it's probably the IPOs that are causing, a lot of capital to flow out of Bitcoin, I decided to look up the SpaceX IPO just to see, or I should say their S1 form that they submitted to the SEC, just to get a sense of, the business, what it's offering. And obviously, I looked at the company's Bitcoin holdings. They hold like 18,700, and I think it's 12 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And looking at that, I just thought it's really fascinating because when you look through the discussion notes that are included with their financials, you do see that some of their customers include NASA and the Department of War. And so I would guess, like, nerdy thing, if you look at Porter's five forces and the negotiating powers of your customer versus the supplier, et cetera, I would guess that when your customer is the Department of War or NASA, they probably have more bargaining power than you do. And so I find it fascinating that, SpaceX maintains these customers, these government agencies, and they are still carrying Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And so if I can understand someone wanting to invest in SpaceX because, they're an Elon stan, or because they do, I guess, want to put their capital towards supporting their country if they're American. SpaceX seems to be strategically important for the US. I can see why perhaps they would want to buy some shares of the company or participate in the IPO. But if that is not your thing, or if you're not American, just consider that you are placing some of your cash into a company that already holds Bitcoin on its balance sheet. If you don't have to do it because, you're not allowed to buy Bitcoin, like if you're not a company that is forced to only invest in stocks or bonds, for example, i.e. you're retail, you're an individual, consider that they themselves hold Bitcoin. So maybe don't sell all your Bitcoin to, invest in a company that's going public. Not financial advice, but just food for thought. If you want to not trust me and verify for yourself, go to the SEC website, look up SpaceX's S1 form, and you will see a lot of interesting tidbits of information. So yeah, I look forward to seeing, how things develop over the next little while. I am who I am, and so obviously I'll stay faithful to Bitcoin. And I have to say that I'm kind of grateful for this dip because it makes, the treasure hunt budget for this podcast just a little cheaper in fiat terms. So, I'll be scooping up some sats so that we can, just make sure that the treasure hunt keeps going. And speaking of that, once again, shout out to Asanoa and Bitcoin Art Magazine for doubling the bounty. If you do want to see bigger bounties on this podcast, make sure you follow them across all platforms. And go to the website, check out the art. Yes, so check out Bitcoin Art Magazine, and also shout out to Orange Manufacturing Group, who did an amazing job of mixing up the seed word clues. And you guys were saying that seed words number 4 and 8 were not in the episode, and they were. I've got a screenshot that someone else posted on X, the winner, that I will include here to prove that they were in fact in the episode. So yes. Without further ado, I am going to open up a wallet in order to recover the seed phrase, share it with you, and show you how it is done. Here we go. So we shall record screen. And here are the seed words. Number 1, vault. Number 2, square. 3, firm. 4, enrich. 5, motion. 6 choice, 7 term, 8 hospital, 9 return, 10 snow. Snow, oh, yeah. I was like, for sure, no one's going to get snow because only people from Toronto who are familiar with like dancehall slash rap slash hip hop from the 90s would ever see the image of that person, the clue that I put up, and know who that person was, Snow. 11 rule and 12 voice. And what up? So we're going to hit continue. And while this is, here we go. And it looks like, okay, enter a pin. So we're just going to do this. There we go. Continue. And yeah, so while that's happening, we're back next Saturday with an episode featuring BitBabe21, who makes amazing Bitcoin jewelry. Ladies, tune in because she's so down to earth and she's so relatable. The way she talks about Bitcoin is it's not jarring, it's not too technical, it's wonderful. Fellas, if you've got a special woman in your life, tell her to tune in and watch the episode. Oh, look at this. So we've recovered the wallet, but it says 0 BTC. And if you know, you know. That's because there was a passphrase added to this. So if you managed to, get the 12 words and you didn't visit the Bitcoin Art Magazine website, you wouldn't know what the passphrase is. So you may have ended your quest here, but our winner did not. I say he because I'm guessing it's a guy. He persisted. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back and we are going to close this completely. And we're going to go back into the Blockstream app and we're going to do this. So here where it says enter your PIN, instead of doing that, I'm going to select the 3 dots in the top right corner and it says BIP39 passphrase login. So I'm going to select that. And of course, I'm going to make the passphrase visible. And here we are. The passphrase is capital B, LOOD, space, capital M, ONEY. It is blood money. And that is artwork that Asanoa did himself. And you'll see, because I'll add it to the screen, it has been sold. And you can see that there's the block height. You can see all the details. And so some of the clues do actually lead to that on the Bitcoin Art Magazine website. So that is the passphrase done. We're going to say okay. And now it's prompting me for the PIN again. So we're going to enter the PIN. Here we go. Loading. And it still says 0. However, this time, if we select Bitcoin, we can see the transactions. So I funded the wallet initially on the 26th of May. Asanoa from Bitcoin Art Magazine doubled it also on the 26th of May. And our winner swept the wallet on June the 5th. There you have it. Yes. In the comments, let me know, firstly, if you managed to find the 12-word seed phrase and the passphrase. I think that was already difficult for many people. And then if you did, let me know if you had issues recovering the wallet using a different app like the Blue Wallet, for example, or, I can't think of any other wallets off the top of my head. But let me know if you had issues. And then if you did have issues, let me know if you had issues with the derivation path. I'm testing out a few different things and hopefully I can get your feedback and match it with my experience to do a little tutorial on what to do when you try to recover a wallet with a passphrase. And obviously the seed phrase, but you're showing, you're not seeing the previous transactions. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. Hold on, let me just stop recording. Boom, recording saved. Thank you so much for tuning in. Look out for the next episode on Saturday. And as always, leave your comments. Even if they're not nice, I still like to read them. And have a wonderful week. Bye.